Alright, hello and welcome to the earliest I've ever recorded one of these. Usually at this time I'm still lying in bed waiting for the sweet release of death to take me out of this world. I'm not gonna say what time that is because it's honestly not that early, but you know. Anyway, all I'm saying is this one might get a little weird. I also don't have much time to edit it or anything, so we're gonna see how good I am at doing a lot of stuff in one take here, which I'm getting better at. But anyway, it's really just about talking while you're thinking, and that's what I'm doing right now. So let's go ahead and get right into it. Starting things off, this is Relinquished Control, by the way. I didn't say that, but yes, this is Relinquished Control. I'll put a card up on screen to the Relinquished combo video that I put up a month ago now-ish, something around that. That was like a, out your opponent's board with sucking the monsters up, bouncing them with firewalls, things like that. And this is more of like a take, a couple of the monsters of a turn and use some stun cards like, artifacts and things like that to keep, make it so they still have board presence, but still be able to take something from them. I've thought of stupid stuff like you could put Grinder Golem in here and things like that, but I'm not gonna put that degenerate ass card in any decks. But anyway, yes. So starting things off, we have 3 copies of Relinquished. No explanation there. Just suck some stuff up. Level 1, so it's searchable off of Where Art Thou. You can special the back off of King Caballo. Just things like that. For the new cards, we have Millennium Eyes Illusionist. If you special a Relinquished or as a restrict monster, and this card is in the graveyard, it comes back to your hand. You don't even have a choice in it, and you can discard it from your hand as a hand trap effect to equip one monster your opponent controls to an Eyes Restrict or Relinquished you control, which is pretty good because this actually gives us something going first. For a new recovery card, we have Magical Illusionist Faceless Mage, which is a 5, which is one of the things that holds it back a lot. But if a Relinquished or Eyes Restrict you control is destroyed, well, this is in hand or grave, you can special it back. And if this is sent to the graveyard while it's on the field, you can special a Relinquished or Eyes Restrict monster from your graveyard to the field. So he actually is very good with links, obviously, because you can just send him to the grave and then bring one back and, up your link from there. We also have 2 copies of Kinka Bio. This is different than in the combo one. I cut this down to 2 just because we can search this off of Where Art Thou, and because we're not running Brilliant Fusion, we're not getting the extra normal summons, and we are relying more on Manju. So we're not going to be summoning him as much, so I cut him down. And speaking of, we have 3 copies of Manju, which might not have even been in the combo deck. I actually don't believe it was. But he obviously gets us the Black Illusion Ritual or the Relinquished. That's just what Manju does, so that's pretty good. He's obviously just some consistency that the combo one was obviously lacking. This deck has a problem with kind of just bricking and drawing, like being one card away from doing anything. But again, it's very dependent on the board your opponent has and things like that. And that's just the main problem with this deck, is it just depends on what your opponent has. 2 copies of Ash Blossom over Ogre, because Ogre actually takes things off the board, whereas Ash Blossom leaves them on the board, so we can then suck them up later. That same reasoning goes for Artifact Scythe. Now, I am running Morale Talk just because Morale Talk is very good, and I think, if you're running it, Morale Talk can save your ass a lot of times. And I'm actually only running the 1 Scythe just for space. But again, same reasoning with Scythe. It stops your opponent from finishing their play, so it leaves them with something still on board for you to actually use for yourself. 3 copies of Pre-Preparation of Rites for Consistency. Obviously, that card is insane. Not much more you can say about pre-prep. 2 copies of regular prep. Once you use your ritual spell, it's essentially the same thing. Grabbing one back from grave and a ritual monster from deck. So we have an insane number of ways to get our shit to hand, basically. And somehow I still don't see them. I think it might be Percy's shuffling thing. I don't know. But anyway, we have 3 copies of the actual ritual spell. No advanced ritual art in this one. Which is kind of sad because that was a very good setup for King Caballo and things like that. But it was just some space, and there are better cards we can have in our deck than normal monsters. 3 copies of Relinquished Fusion. You banish the materials, which is 1 effect monster and 1 Relinquished, to special the new fusion. You can also banish this card from your grave to equip 1 monster to a Relinquished or Eyes Restrict monster. So that's pretty good, but if it didn't have to banish from hand like an invocation type deal, it would be much better, especially just letting us get things in grave like artifacts or things like that, or just like anything to special back off of King Caballo. But you can't ask for too much now, can we? Instant Fusion just for 1,000 Eyes, because again, we can. He's very good at baiting things out. We can also, use that, bait something out. If he gets destroyed, we can also make King Caballo, suck something up, make a rank 1 play, or just let it bounce the hand for recovery from there. There's a lot of things we can do. It also lets us make our Wear Arthals pretty live. 2 copies of Desires, which I've honestly thought about switching out for Call the Haunted, just for a little bit more recovery, especially with the artifacts in here. And I think that's something that I might end up doing here, but the replays are with Desire, so we'll go ahead and show that off. But in this deck, it's kind of iffy. Like, there are times where I, wait on resolving it so I could use a Sanctum first when I didn't draw the artifacts. So I have been thinking about Call of the Haunted instead. I think that actually might be better than Desires in this deck. But we do have 2 copies of Forbidden Chalice. Now, we're running this over Strike because this, again, leaves monsters face up on the field that we can then use to actually make our monsters bigger. So whereas, Strike, you destroy it, and like, yeah, sure, that's cool, and it's gone. But Chalice, although it leaves the monster on the field, although it, isn't as great against quick effects, and although it still lets them swing over stuff, we can then go ahead and actually suck things up on our turn, which helps us with our strategy more than Strike did, because say we just stop them right there, their field's clear, we're not doing anything either. And rounding things off, we have 3 copies of Artifact Sanctum. Not much explanation needed. Special Scythe and Marltech, which are both pretty damn good cards. For the extra deck, we have 1 Herald and 1 Moonlight, just in case we have some Ash Blossoms in hand that we want to normal summon. 2 copies of Princess Sprite, because it's the only good rank 1, really. Only good, like, generic rank 1, really. 1 copy of Diamond Dire for if we get double Manju on the field, and because it clears itself. 2 copies of Link Garibo, because 2 actually does come up, and there have been some games where I've made 2. I think we'll actually see one of those, but this card's very damn good in this deck. Just get stuff engraved immediately that you can then normal summon a King Caballo and special it back. Just really cool stuff like that. 1 Proxy Dragon, 1 Akashic, 1 Decode, 1 Ningirsu, and 1 Borlo, just some of the better links there. 1 copy of Thousand Eyes, and 2 copies of the new Fusion. Like we said, he's Relinquished plus 1 effect monster, and once per turn, when an opponent's monster activates its effect, you can target 1 effect monster your opponent controls in their graveyard, equipped to this card. It gains the attack and defense, and monsters with the same name as a monster equipped to this card by this card's effect cannot attack, also negate their effects. And the hand trap and the fusion spell treat the monster as being equipped to this by its effect. So those all work for it as well. So we can actually get some negation going on, which is weird. But again, most players, if they know what they're doing, will just normal summon or bring out 1 thing without any effects, and then go ahead and swing over this, something like that. So it is crucial to suck something up as fast as you can with this, whether it be the hand trap or the fusion spell, which obviously is an instant thing. Once you make it, you have the fusion spell engraved to actually suck something up with. Just the side deck is just full of a lot of stuff I was thinking about. Obviously, Glow Up Bulb, especially with Foolish, is just a free level 1. Make some Formula Synchrons and stuff like that. Kaijus were in my original Relinquished build, but I went ahead and cut those as well. I still like them, but the deck space got really tight trying to make this as consistent as possible, because, again, I think it might be the shuffling on Percy, but for some reason this just was like I kept drawing these really bad hands. So it gave up a little bit. But yeah, so I basically cut that for more consistency. Ghost Ogre and E-Telly, but like I said, cut Ogre because it does get stuff off field. Spell and Trap Removal, Brilliant Fusion, because again, you can normal summon a Manju and a King Caballo, or just 2 Manjus. Same thing with Double Summon, and just Book of Moons. It's just a generally good card. But those are just some extra choices you might want to think about as well. Let's go ahead and get into the replays here. Okay, so for this one, we're actually up against, I believe it was just kind of like artifacts. Yeah, it seems just to be like a pure artifact kind of thing going on here. Obviously, they're light, so it's supported by Galaxy Soldier for Infinity Plates, which is actually quite good. This was one of the most interesting and fun matches I've actually had in probably a year or so. It's just at that good level where stuff's still fun and interesting. There's like both decks are at a level where you can push back and forth. It's not, an uphill battle the whole time against a board your opponent made. You're both holding back resources for next turn because, it's slower and you can do that. It was just very fun and interesting. So let's go ahead and roll it here. He's going first, so we'll go ahead and make the Galaxy Soldier play. He drew one, so he's not going to be able to add both, but he will have a back to the front and an infinity, which isn't to be scoffed at. So we'll let the instant fusion go, which will let us activate the Warrior Arthal and grab a Relinquished to hand. Whenever I try to suck it up, then he'll go to negate. We'll go ahead and let that happen because we have the Illusionist Faceless Mage, which we can then go ahead and use that as tribute fodder for Relinquished. We'll go ahead and special him out, and Faceless Mage effect will trigger, bringing back the 1,000 Eyes, which will actually turn into a Link Karibo here. I like to maintain Relinquished over 1,000 Eyes just because 1,000 Eyes restrict your other monsters from attacking, and I'd rather be able to attack with everything. So we'll go ahead and keep the Relinquished there, and I'll make another Infinity and go ahead and suck up the Relinquished, which I'll actually let happen. Even though I have the Chalice down here, because then on my turn he could just negate it whenever we try to suck it up. So we'll go ahead and negate the Preparation of Rites, but we can actually Forbidden Chalice that. So we drew into we had just the right cards for that. He'll actually go ahead and use the Moraltalk, but we'll go ahead and just special back the Faceless Mage, crash that into the Moraltalk, and now we'll go for the 1,000 Eyes restrict, because once we suck this up, there'll be equal attack. So I don't want him being able to actually swing into it. Now he'll go ahead and duality into a fucking demise, a piece of shit. He'll get an artifact ignition, which I believe does that skip his battle phase. I don't know. He didn't attack for some reason. I'm not sure if that's one of his cards or not. But so he will go ahead. We'll go ahead and suck up the Moraltalk, and he'll go ahead and sanctum that, and then bring that back off of what's it called, back to the front. So he has Infinity once again, although we'll do some Link Karibo shenanigans to get around that. He'll let the Kinkabio go off. Oh, he can't actually negate anything with the Infinity because it doesn't have any materials underneath it, because he couldn't suck anything up. So we'll go ahead and turn the Restrict into another Link Karibo. We'll go ahead and let the Kinkabio bounce back to hand, and we'll just kind of be playing Link Karibo beatdown here. He'll swing into it, which I guess that was to make his Drowning or his Gofu live. One of the two, but obviously he doesn't want to waste it on a Manju and a Link Karibo. So we'll go ahead and pass it back to us there. I believe he has Drowning, Double Cyclone, and some artifacts set, but obviously we don't have any spells and traps for him to actually pop anything with. Yeah, so the Double Cyclone wasn't live, and the Drowning wasn't live once he used the Gofu. I don't know why he scooped, because he still had the Drowning. He could still, get around what we were going to do, like especially if he made a Deco Talk or something. He was beating over us. We could suck that up, but obviously so is the Drowning. I don't know why he scooped, but yeah, as you can see, there was a very nice back and forth. We were drawing just the right cards to have this really nice, fun, and interesting match all the way up to turn 11 when he scooped it up here. But yeah, that was just a very, very fun and interesting one to show off here. And this one, we're up against Cyverse, and this build's actually slightly different. This one still has ogres in it, but it's similar enough to still be good enough, still be able to be shown off in these. But yes, slightly different, but not too much of a difference there. We're up against Cyverse, which weirdly does some stuff, kind of. Like, it'll make a Deco Talker with some negates on it, targeting negates on it, and like 3300. It can make the other more specific ones like Xcode Talker and things like that as well, which aren't too great, but we're actually getting one that is better. Anyway, I'll stop talking about that. So we're up against Cyverse here, so we're going first. We'll just go ahead and set the fusion in pass, because we don't have the hand trap, so there's really not much to do on his turn here. And he'll actually do decently here. He'll combo the that guy with the one that banishes to search, getting him the extra null summon. I don't know why he didn't go for Decode Talker here. I really don't, because that essentially doesn't do anything unless he's, attacking or battling with other monsters. We'll go ahead and suck one thing up with the one face down with the Relinquished, just in case. Obviously, he would have gotten tokens out, so that was actually good to do instead of attacking into it. And then we'll go ahead and suck up the big one from there, and he can swing directly with that thing, but I don't care. I believe we will actually, yes, so we'll go ahead and make the Relinquished here, suck something else up. We could have done some stuff like, summoning the Faceless Mage and, then using that and making link plays and things like that, but I'd rather just control my resources here. So we'll go ahead and destroy our fusion, but we just have the Faceless Mage engraved, so we'll go ahead and do that. We'll link those into an Akashic because then we can special back the Relinquished and go ahead and suck up the face down monster there just in case. And that was actually, that was just a Mystic Shine, but also didn't matter. But then we can go ahead and Ritual Summon once again and suck up the M Dusk, actually. So he's running on low, but he'll go ahead and Soul Charge just for one for Excode Talker, which again was a bit of an iffy play. And we'll go ahead and normal summon that and go into a Borreload because it's fucking Borreload. And we'll just go ahead and take it from there. Now he'll set a Call the Haunted during the end phase, that will go to the grave. He can bring it back, I'll Call the Haunted, but we can actually reduce it by 500 and swing for exact game there. So again, he did some interesting plays, but again, overall, just a nice match with some good back and forth, which is something you don't get to see much anymore. Now we're squaring off against Jack Knights, which he didn't open very well. He opened the monster negation in one that can move itself, but he didn't really open any other ways to. He didn't open like a searcher or anything to actually get more of them on field, things like that. So we're forced to go first, so we'll just go ahead and set a Sanctum here. Now we have the Desires in hand, so I'm going to jump earlier than I would have on this to try and special one from the deck. But that's going to get hit with an Ash Blossom anyway, which I'm okay with that being an Ash Blossom when we have a Desires in hand, not going to lie. So we'll normal summon the Manju and try to grab our Relinquished off of that. But it'll actually flip the negation, so Manju's effect won't be able to go off. But we drew enough to be able to fuse into Millennium Eyes there. And we can go ahead and use the fusion effect to suck up the Jack Knight there. He'll move the zone. I don't know what he was trying to do there. I guess he thought it was his effect or something maybe. But we'll actually suck up a Ghost Ash or an Ash Blossom engrave, just in case he tries to use another one. So the effect's negated. We'll go ahead and suck another one up onto it off of the hand trap there. We'll go ahead and use the Scars, draw one, set one. I believe that's a Silent Psychic Wizard or something. Yeah, so he's just setting at this point, kind of in some desperation there. Now he'll get Grinder Golem. And I believe, what was he? Oh, he went just for double Link Rainbow to try and maintain. I don't know why he kept, didn't keep going on something like that. Because we can just kind of bait out both the Link Rainbow effects here. We'll actually suck up another one from Grave just for disrespect. And actually swing for 6,700 there. For game. So that was just kind of us whooping up on a bad hand of Jack Knights there. But whatever, Alright, so that was our look at Relinquished Control. I'll just go ahead and call it here because I've done like 3 Relinquished videos at this point, so I won't talk any more on it than I already have. Way much more than I should. But anyway, links in the description to my Discord, cool place to chill, hang out, talk about Yu-Gi-Oh! Anime, among other things. Also a link to my Patreon, which will get you extra, if you support me there, even if it's just $1 a month, will get you extra duels that don't make it into the final cuts of deck profiles and other series I do that have duels like this. No usual content will be gated off, but if you do have a little bit extra to give every month, it would be greatly appreciated. But no pressure or anything, I get it if you can't. I'm a broke college student, I know the feeling. But anyway, thank you for watching, and I'll see you later.